Welcome back to the Listen Up Podcast, where we analyze a new album each week. I'm Jamie, and this week we've got me, Nick, and Jordan.
Gotta win and need to get to have a Bojangles.
This week we're going to be blindly going through our album rating sheet thus far, and just kind of gut check, decide if we want to, adjust the numbers or if we want to stand by the ratings. Don't worry, I've already made a copy of the original numbers, so we'll still have the old numbers, and then, once I finally get around to doing the data analysis I've been promising for like 20 weeks, we can see how we've changed. Maybe who changed the most, who changed the least.
So we can just delete stuff on here if we want?
I have my hard copy. What you do doesn't affect my sheet, yeah.
Cool.
So if you want to update your numbers to see them, so unless you somehow route into my
I'm going into the
desktop. Dude, what a trope that just won't die. That I don't even know what it means. I'm in the mainframe.
I would hit the heck out of my keyboard, but it would probably mess up. Somehow, probably delete my recording of this episode. I don't know,
bro. You know how you give credibility in a hacking movie? If you say the word shell or terminal, I'm like, okay, hacker.
Terminal.
Hacker can.
I'm like, yeah.
If someone says bash or PowerShell, I'm like, oh yeah, that's,
yeah, they know what they're talking about.
Wrote this script, yeah.
In Mr. Robot, main complaint I have about the show, phenomenal overall. But there's this one time where they like start to 3D print this guy's fingerprint, and it only takes them like 20 minutes.
What?
And I was
okay.
like, what kind of mega 3D printer does this like corporation have? Got to be some kind of prototype, because every 3D printer I've used takes like 12 hours overnight to print like a little like 6-inch square.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, that's
funny.
Also, 3D printers
for all you 3D printer lovers out there.
The 3D printers also, for the most part, don't have the like dexterity and precision it would take to do a human fingerprint. Are you kidding me?
To create a unique fingerprint
in 20 minutes? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Rami Malek.
Oh, okay, before we start the ratings, did you guys know that if you have a can and you're opening it and it starts to fizz, you know how your gut reaction is to freak out and like ease off? It'll dissipate faster if you just fully open the can, because it lets the air release more and it doesn't like pressurize it.
Interesting.
Which makes sense. I just no one ever told me that, and Gus told Eddie about it on the podcast this week, and I was like, oh shit. Physics wise, that makes sense, but I've never heard that before. So there you go, listener.
That's why you listen to this podcast.
Apparently this brewing company sponsored by Ball Aerospace.
Oh.
Who also does the jar thing. Ball is a confusing company.
Wait, what? Ball has an aerospace? Pretty sure.
I know. Division? Yeah, there's a lot of. Yeah, they have the same logo.
What? Oh my god!
Like when I've been applying to jobs out here, I applied to a few jobs at Ball Aerospace, and it looks like the same logo.
This is a revelation.
Interesting.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that one out.
We gotta hook William up there. Sorry, didn't mean to dox our homeboy.
Constant. What? Well, you just said his first name. We say people's first names.
Yeah, I don't think he's on any of my social media.
I don't think he listens to us.
We're just a couple film bros watching 3-hour Russian cinema together.
That is mediocre.
Yeah, I will never do that again.
And convincing yourself it's worth it.
For like the first 30 minutes, just thinking, maybe this will get better. Did not.
3 hours in, did it?
3 hours.
No.
Well, all right. I guess we can get this show pony on the track.
Yeah.
It's looking like I gave Meet the Woo 2 a 4. Gonna have to drop that to about a 0.5, I think.
Oh.
Okay, I was gonna actually change mine to a 0, so I'm glad one.
Oh.
Okay, so something we haven't done in forever is literally do anything in a linear manner since like we realized that format fucking sucked. Or I think that was around Mechanical Bull and Being So Normal. We realized that was a bad format.
Yeah.
But now we're back at it, but it's gonna be way less heavy. Episode 1, the debut episode, Nick so graciously chose. I also like this because it's kind of a like trip down memory lane. Nick chose Willie Nelson's "Both Sides Now." That is a country album. Jordan gave it a 3. Nick gave it an 8.5, and I gave it a 6.
I'm good with that one. I'm
You're good with that one, Nick. What about you? Do you
I'm good with that one. I feel like we need to
with that one?
re-record or delete like the first 15 episodes.
I know. Still, like for a while, our like 5th listen to episode, because most people they go, "Oh, I'm gonna start at episode 1," but like we didn't even all have real mics until episode 3 or 4.
That's true.
So I've thought
we
about
didn't
that.
We
I
didn't
think
have
I had
real
one.
mics until then, and then we didn't like know how to have
Yeah.
funny communication.
No,
Yeah,
true.
we really need to at least re-record our channel introduction on like our episode 0. We're gonna redo that sometime. That's in
down
the
with that.
horizon, but the listener probably won't
Verizon?
hear that because we're not gonna like push that out. But yeah, we're definitely gonna do that. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably give it a 6. Yeah, I'll probably leave it at that. So it stays at 5.83. Episode 2, Turn Blue by the Black Keys. Jordan gave it a 4. Nikki gave it an 8. I gave it
I'll
an
leave it
8.5.
at that too.
Nick,
I'll-
what about you?
I'll leave it at that.
I think I'm gonna tweak it just a little to about
Okay.
to an 8.5.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, and I'm actually gonna also do a Delta 0.5 and make mine a 9.
Oh,
I've come to.
oh,
I mean,
oh.
it almost made my top album list last week, so I feel like I
Sure.
gotta bump it up a little bit. So that brings it to a new 7.17. Episode 3, our first Pop Smoke appearance. Meet the Woo
10,
2.
10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10.
So Jordan gave it a 9.5. I'm gonna guess he wants it a 10 now.
I do want it so badly
Okay.
a 10. It's my favorite album of all time. How did I not give it a 10?
Yeah, I know it was your number 1. Nick, you gave it a 4, and I gave it a 3. How are we feeling about? I think I'm gonna stay at a 3 with that.
I think I'm gonna stay at a 4. I think I'm probably gonna bump up, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon.
Whenever we get done with that.
Yeah, but
Gotcha.
I'll probably keep this.
Legitness.
Okay. Well, that brings the average to a 5.67. Realized I didn't say either of what the ones before then, so it didn't really matter what to say after.
This is
And
gonna
that
be a
brings us to
mathematical podcast.
episode 4, which I remember as being our first episode with all 3 of us having real microphones.
Yeah.
I think the audio still progressively got better, but at least we all had real mics. Jordan gave it a 3.5. Nick, you're rocking a 10. That was the first 10, and I gave it a 7 with an average of 6.83. How are we feeling about that one?
I'll leave it. Like,
I'm
honestly,
dropping
Dropping it, okay.
Okay, well, actually, I
Interesting,
wanted to
our
drop
first
it.
10
I wanted to
removal.
drop it, but I think Nick was gonna.
You wanted to drop it? Interesting. I
Listen,
would've thought,
listen.
okay.
I don't remember that much about it, so I can't. It's hard for me to say, but just the fact that like I feel like it didn't stick wanted me to drop it like 0.5, but I was like, oh, Nick gave it a 10. He's gonna love it, but then I was like, oh, he dropping it. So
So do you want to
I'm
drop
gonna
I'll drop mine
it
to
to I think I'll just drop it to a 9.
Okay. The hubris of youth, Honestly,
Sorry,
I
sorry,
think a
follow, little
7.
brothers.
I think a 7 is still pretty fair, so I think I'm gonna stay at that. But that brings it to a 6.33. Okay, so then moving right along, episode 5, Being So Normal, our first indie pick, and it was from me. That album's by Peach Bit. It was in my top 10. Listen to last week's episode to figure out where in the top 10. Plug. Jordan gave it a 3.5. Nick gave it a 7. I gave it a 9.5 for an average of 6.67.
I'm a
I think I'm
stick.
gonna drop mine down to a 3.
And it was and its ranking was at 32. I think in the YouTube overlay I'm gonna cut in like what it used to be and what it is now. So what did you say you're gonna make it, Jordan?
I'm gonna drop it down to a 3.
Okay. Nick, how do you feel about a 7?
I'm rocking with it.
All right, that is bumped up for me to a 10.
Really?
Yes.
Impressive.
I've come around. The reason because I don't remember if
The
this is what I
score
said,
stays the same.
but it's yes, the score stays the same, 6.67, 32nd place. Because I'm changing it because the reason it wasn't a 10 last time was there were a few songs that I didn't really enjoy that much, but I've come around to them and I enjoy them now. So, you know, I could comfortably bump that up to a 10. So then, right along episode 5, "Dirtbag" by Blueface, picked by Jordan. Jordan gave it an 8.5. Nick gave it a 3. I gave it a 4.5 for an average score of 5.33, and it's currently in 60th place.
I think I'm gonna bump it up to a 9.5.
Oh, a whole point. Interesting.
The only reason it's not a 10 is because of there's one song with a little pump on it, and it just doesn't hit as hard as like a 10 does. So.
Gotcha.
Little Trump supporter.
Nick, how
Little
do you feel about a 3?
I'm gonna bump it to a 4. I think. I've come to recognize Blueface's comedic sensibilities. You know, he's a funny guy. This is the album where he says something about a bagel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, shot a hole in a guy. Now he looks like
Looking like a bagel.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
This is also this ain't a not smoking room, but can't a hoe tell me shit. Cause bitch, I that shit.
Oh,
My
yeah,
mom
yeah.
and my sis had to kick my own
don't
blood
know.
out. Just thought I was a crick.
I think I'm
TikTok
gonna,
famous. They all want to come crawling back.
We're
you
a
know?
big TikTok podcast, you know.
I think I'm gonna stay at 4.5 though.
All right.
But that's an
Understandable.
average of 6, and it is now up to 50th. But it's funny because all these numbers are going to change. So all the ranking numbers will be on the screen in the YouTube edit will be whatever it is at the end. But for now, that's at 50th place. So then at number 7, episode 7, is Yes Lord by No Worries, which is Anderson .Paak and Knowledge. Right? Collab. Nick picked it,
Nextledge.
and Jordan gave it a 4. Nick had an 8, and I had a 7 for an average of 6.33, and it's currently seated at 41st.
8.5.
So how 8.5? Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
Bump it up.
Jordan,
a
how
half.
do you feel about your 4?
I'm fine with that.
Gotcha. I think I'll probably stay at a 7.
Disrespect.
I remember enjoying it, but I also haven't checked it
Disrespect.
out since then.
Disrespect.
I'm just trying to do this blind.
Shut up,
Going
Four
with the
Eyes.
gut checks. Gut check, I'm leaving it at a 7. So that's an
talking
average
to
of
me or Jamie?
6.5, which temporarily brings it to 35th.
Oh, never mind. It's a 10.
So
We're going back. I'm giving it.
we've already moved on now. You'll
I'm
have to
giving
wait
it a
till you'll have to wait
27,
till
dude. Go back.
You gotta wait till we do this next year, and then you can give it a 10.
I missed
God,
my
that would-
60-second window. Now I have to wait 365 days.
So actually, maybe we'll separate it. This is how we should have done this at a cleaner number, and then that could have been like that's how we end season 1, and then move into season 2 to make it easier for ourselves later down the road. We're at episode 300. All right, time to re-rate every single.
Yeah, we've been doing this nonstop except for 1 week. I think.
Yeah,
We're going crazy.
even and I think we're even at a point where like the major event that's definitely going to make it to where we won't be able to record or me to edit 1 week. I think we'll probably be at a position where we can get some in the can to build a buffer or something.
True.
So
We're popping off.
We're
I'd be
getting good at
popping
what
off.
We're getting good at making a better holistic experience for David. You know.
Yes.
Episode 8, How to Friend Love Freefall, Rainbow Kitten Surprise. Jordan gave it a 4.5, Nick gave it a 9, and I gave it a 10 for an average of 7.83, and it is currently our 11th, tied for 11th album. I'm gonna stay at a 10. If it wasn't a 10, I would have made it a 10, but I have to stay because I already hit the ceiling the first time.
I think
So
I'm
what
gonna.
do you guys feel?
I think I'm gonna untie it for 11th place. I think I'm gonna make it a 9.5
Ooh,
because I listened to this album maybe a couple weeks ago, and I forgot. Like I think I enjoyed even the songs I didn't like as much. when we recorded. I think I enjoyed them more listening to it again.
Yeah, see, that's what I had with Being So Normal when I re-listened to it for the. Actually, no, I've been re-listening to it since that album ended, or since that episode ended. But I've come around to them, to where it's like, oh, Jordan, how do you feel about a 4.5 for RKS?
I'm gonna drop it to a 4.
Damn.
Okay, so no change.
Still tied.
Still
Wait, what?
7.83,
Oh.
and it is tied
Sorry,
for
yeah.
11th. So number 9,
Jordan be like,
currently our
I only
third
remember
highest.
2 songs off this album.
4.
I remember 0 songs
chop it
off that
down.
album.
I mean that says something though. The non-memorableness that's got to kind of play into it. This is all about how we've grown since then.
It's also really long ago, so maybe I'm being too hard. But anyways,
So episode 9, "Man on the Moon" by Kid Cudi, the deluxe edition. Jordan gave it a 9. Nick gave it a 7.5, and I gave it a 9. Average 8.5. Rank 3. How are we feeling?
I feel like I gotta give that a 9.5. Just looking back, it's so good.
Okay. It is.
Maybe can I give it a 9.25?
Of course.
All
I think
right.
we popped off later. We were doing like 8.3s and shit. So
The only reason why is because there's a lot of songs that I don't like to listen to. Well,
See, that's what I was,
it's just
I was
a very
gonna
long
say.
album.
I
It's
was
just a very
gonna
long
bump
album.
mine up to 9.25 as well.
Oh, nice.
So
So
collectively,
you're
bump it
copying
up.
me.
Well, I was gonna say it before you.
Sure. Just like
So,
Nick,
Nick,
number 8
how
was
do you feel?
your dark,
I-
beautiful, twisted fantasy.
I don't
Nick-
want you boys to think it's spiteful, but I'm dropping it down a bit. I'm
Okay.
Wow.
I'm just going 7. It's gonna even out, and that gives even more evidence for it to seem spiteful.
You
But-
dropped that album? You
but, like,
dropped
I-
that album?
It doesn't hit for me, and usually I'm like an experimental hip hop guy, but lately I've been very into Injury Reserve, but like I don't know, this album has never scratched the itch for me that it scratched for so many other
Interesting,
people.
wow.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's crazy.
You
I
just be
still
like,
think it is. Sir.
But that is not how.
That's Kid Cudi.
There's so much more beats to that, my guy. You are.
Kid Cudi be
Oh,
humming, you know?
and Sturgill Simpson's just. Well, I'm on a log.
Well, I got a horse
twiddling
and
my
a dog.
thumbs, and then I
And
go
I love
into
my
the
wife and
beer
my
shop and
kids.
drink some beer. Wow, that's totally Sturgill Simpson and Willie Nelson combined. They're both the exact same
I don't
artists,
think he's
aren't they?
ever sang about beer.
I'm kidding. I'm just trying to roast you, Nick. I'm just trying to roast you.
He
Discourse.
sings about LSD.
Discourse.
Bro.
So much discourse.
He's a chill country guy. He smokes DMT.
We're getting aggressive on
He's
our
the
favorite
Joe Rogan
artists.
of country music.
He talks about that in his NPR Tiny Desk.
Just kidding.
He's
He's way better than Joe Rogan. Fuck Joe.
He has done. I think he's done 1 or 2 Joe Rogan podcasts. Okay, we've got to excuse him for that. He doesn't say any crazy stuff on there. You know.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Spotify. Please still sponsor us, maybe, but Joe Rogan.
my man turning into a horse. My man anamorphing into a horse after
It's all
taking
it's
that
all
ivermectin.
horse deworm. Episode 10, White Bronco, Action Bronson, picks by Nick. Jordan gave it a 7. Nick gave it a 7. I gave it a 6. I just hit the hell out of my table. Average 6.67, number 32. What are we feeling?
I'm
I
good.
can't remember that much, but I'm gonna keep it. I trust my past self. I trust it. Which I might go back and listen to it now that I gave it that high of a rating.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna put it at a. I
That's-
think I'm gonna put it at a 5.5. It hasn't had any lasting for me. Hasn't had.
Watch me like go back and listen to it. Thinks it's like
impact.
ass, and
I'm
be
not-
like,
I'm
oh, I was
not
definitely
under-
just.
I'm not understanding how you guys like these albums that you only rated like a 4 to begin with. Like, of course you're not gonna go back and listen to them, and you're like,
Okay,
oh
but
yeah, I only
I rated this
remember
one a
2 songs
7
off
though.
of them, so like I'm gonna drop it down even lower. Obviously, you don't like it that much. I don't,
Yes, Nick. Some of these earlier ones, it's more
This is
about
not what I thought was gonna come out of this episode.
Nick. More, it was more about dropping them compared to what I want to rate later on too.
Right,
because
exactly.
I know,
That's the thing.
I
The
know
scale
I gave
has
it really
slid since
high.
then.
higher at the beginning. I know 4 is not high, but I feel like as much as I enjoyed those albums, it still was not like as good as like I want these to be.
Jordan,
you know?
your scale really runs from like 0 to 6, so 4 is pretty high for you. That's like upper 2/3.
That's true. That's true.
No, see, that's the thing. Yeah, right. Like the scale has changed since then. So like it's slid where it's like categorizing in my mind how I probably felt in the moment. If I went back now, it would be different because I've listened to so much more.
Talk,
Okay.
Jamie. Talk your shit.
So.
I do.
This is a We Hate Nick podcast.
We
now.
had to
Let's go.
talk. We had to
No,
talk
no.
Nick down from a ledge. Nick
I was
was
gonna
about to
say-
quit the podcast.
I was gonna say you guys weren't talking your shit. You were just talking sense into me. I was coming in hot. But I understand where you're coming from. Okay,
No,
it
I
might not
gotcha.
change
I
my
think-
mindset, but
Nick had to be tucked down from the ledge. He was about to fucking swan dive off. So then, getting us into number 11, Rage Against the Machine by Rage Against the Machine. Jordan, you gave it a 6.5. Nick gave it an 8.5. I gave it an 8.5. I think I'm gonna have to go 8.0. I think I'm gonna drop it a little bit. I think at that point I was
Impressive.
really,
dropping
really
rage.
feeling the fucking
You were-
anti-disestablishmentarianism at the current moment. So I think I'm going to drop it a little bit. Objectively,
I'm
still
keeping it.
great, but
I'm not
they're,
always in
like,
the mood for it, but
yeah. I mean, when
now.
it hits, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Jordan, how do you feel about it?
I think I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna keep it. I think I'm gonna keep it.
All right. So I'm the only change then. Weird. 7.67, and for now it sits at 15th. We'll see how that changes by the end. Only the YouTube viewers, all 5 of them, will see that.
13 subscribers, dude. Okay, I looked.
We're on the come up. Our last subscriber was over a month ago.
still counts.
It still counts. Episode 12, Yay, Kanye West. Jordan gave it a 9. Nick a 6. Me a 7.5. Average 7.5. Currently seated at the 17th spot. How are we feeling?
Somebody else go first. I still don't know.
No, you guys converse because I need to look at the
I
track
think-
list, but I think I know what I'm gonna
think
do.
I'm gonna hit a 7.75.
Okay.
I'm gonna bump it up a quarter. I feel pretty good about. I like, because I still really listen to the hits of it that I did at the time, but now I've come around a little bit. Every now and then I'll listen to it. You know, if I'm in a very Kanye mood and I just want to listen to him all day, I'll listen to Ye. And yeah, I think I like it a little bit more than I did now. Thus, the increase of a quarter.
I think I'll give it a 10. I think I'm gonna bump it up to a
Ooh.
10. Yeah.
Wow.
I think I could listen to
Big
if this. It's mostly like if someone said I had to listen to this album and nothing else for the rest of my life, I'd be that wouldn't be the worst thing out of every album in the world, you know. So
Logical rationalization.
I would enjoy it. I would say, wow, that is
I mean,
very good.
it did
Thank you.
show up in your top albums last week.
It
Listen
did.
To tune in to find
It
out
did.
where, but it was
Oh.
there.
I
I'm
think
gonna-
number 48. No, I'm kidding.
I'm gonna pop off
48 out
and
of
give it
10.
a give it a 7 instead of a 6.
Nice.
I was a little too
I do
harsh
remember
on it.
at the time you didn't like it. I remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember specifics, but I do remember being like, "Really? I kind of like that more than that."
Okay.
I'm expecting a retraction from you on Women in Music Part 3 Himes album, Jamie.
Well,
I'm
stay
expecting a little
tuned.
bump
We'll
up.
see. We'll see.
Why did he was he talking Jay, bro? Was
Don't
he
you
talking
remember?
Jay?
I
He just
dragged
said
that
he
album
just said
so
I feel like I
hard.
should like it, but it just didn't hit this week. That was how I was
Hey,
with you.
hey.
But-
Nick. That's how it was for Lil Wayne. He said, I can respect him as a musician, but just
That's
didn't
staying
do
the
it
same.
for me.
That's staying the same. Wayne is not changing. But no,
From last
but
week.
that was the episode that I need to make a shirt from. But I talk about how stupid you have to be misogynist. So like I stood up for women,
True.
but I did drag that album. But that brings Ye to an 8.25, which is currently 7th. And that
good
leads us to 13, Earth Tones by Bahamas. Oddly enough, the only Bahamas album we've done.
True.
But it was picked by Nick. Jordan gave it a 6.5. Nick gave it an 8. I gave it a 7.5. Average 7.33 with currently seated at 20th. How are we feeling about that one?
Okay, so I haven't picked my favorite album of all time yet. Okay, so I
Bro,
went
don't.
with
Wait, no, it's still
Cut
not
it
a
out.
spoiler. They don't know
Cut
what
it
it
out.
is. They don't know what it is. They don't know what it
Okay.
is. You didn't say the album.
this. But
I didn't hear it.
Jordan.
I think I'm gonna keep the same. I trust Past Me again.
I'm gonna bump it up just a little to an 8.5.
Okay. I see. I was gonna go a little bit higher. 7.75. I think another quarter, because I have listened to it kind of recently.
Oh,
I
yeah.
liked it a little bit more, not like a ton more. So that's where the quarter comes in. You know, same thing with Ye. And that makes it a 7.58, and currently seated at 17th. So number 14, Coming Home, Leon Bridges, picked by me. Jordan gave it a 6.5. Nick gave it a 7.5. I gave it a 9.5. I think, honestly, 9.75 for me. It's not quite a 10, but it is close.
You go, Nick.
I need to give it an 8 for sure. I love the big hit songs off of it, like Lisa Sawyer and River and stuff like that. The deep cuts, like I still like them. I just don't love them as much as I do the other ones. I think 8's solid.
See, for me, it's the perfect Sunday morning album to wake up at 10 or something, get up, get a little coffee or something, come back here, put it on, open the sliding door, hear like, I don't know, then let some air in and just listen to this album and just fuck around and do whatever. Great album for that.
I feel
It's
that.
so pleasant.
I trust
And
my
I
past
really
self
wish all of his music would be like that, but it's not.
His new album is pretty good. I didn't love his second album.
It is good. I would
yeah.
say it's definitely between Coming Home and his second album for me.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, I would still love to see him live. But yeah, so that then, Jordan, leaving it at a 6.5, that brings to an 8.08. What a weird number. And then that puts it at 10th. Igor, Tyler the Creator, episode 15. Jordan gave it a 7. Nick gave it an 8.5. I gave it a 6. Average 7.17. Seated at 23rd. I think I'll give Igor a 7. I've come around more to Igor. I'll bump it up a full point, I think.
I'm going
I think I'm
9.5.
Oh,
9.5.
wow.
Okay. Because I felt like I was too harsh on it last time. I feel like I hadn't really come around to it as much, but yeah. So
I'm
you're
keeping
leaving it
mine
at
the
7.
same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then that brings us to 7.83.
Oh, wait,
and
wait,
that
did-
moves it. Wait.
I think my shit lagged right when I said it. I said I think I'm gonna bump it up to a 9.5.
Yeah.
Okay,
I got
okay.
it. That part went through.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's a 7.83, and it puts it temporarily at 13th. So then moving right into 16, Sound and Color, Alabama Shakes. Jordan gave it a 5.5, Nick gave it a 10, and I gave it a 10. And it's currently our third episode, our number 3 overall. That was, I think, to date, that's our only double 10 episode.
Hold on a second.
Boo-doo-doo-doo.
Jordan listens to one song off the album. Gotta
I
give
looked
it
up
a 3.
Alabama and to look up Alabama Shakes, and the first thing is Alabama expletive. I'm like, what?
I don't know what that is.
The
Also, for the
word.
listener. Oh, yeah, I know that parody song you're talking about.
You do?
Unfortunately, yes.
Oh,
Went to middle school in Yadkin County. You know, you hear some songs.
Oh,
yes.
unfortunate.
But yes, listener, an album that both Nick and I gave a 10. I'm staying at a 10. Nick, I don't know about you. Yeah.
You know what? I'll keep it. I'll keep it.
Leave it
where
at 5.5. All right, so then it stays at 8.5. Oh, but
Dropping it down to
is
0.
it is one of the 2 albums that showed up on multiple people's lists last week in our top 10 episode. Check it out to find out where. So the next 17, Soul Insight, Marcus King Band, our worst audio fuck up episode thus far.
Oof.
It is our shortest
Oof.
episode apart from the introduction.
Oof.
Jordan gave it a 3, Nick gave it a 7, I gave it an 8. For me, that is now a 9. So I'm gonna bump it up. But it's an average of 6 and it's seated at 50th. But I'm gonna bump it up a full point. Album's a heater.
I'm bumping down. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna leave it where it is.
Yeah, in the audio graveyard.
Audio great.
In the big drive folder in the sky. But my 9, that brings it to a 6.33 and temporarily puts it at 42nd. Our next one, which was our first guest episode, episode 18, An Awesome Wave by Alt J. It was picked by our friend of the show, Jesse. Jordan gave it a 5, Nate gave it a 6.5, I gave it an 8.5, and Jesse gave it a 9.5 for a 7.38. Now, I was a bad producer and didn't ask people what they wanted to re-rate their albums. So all of our guest ratings are static.
Oh.
That's my bad. I'm realizing now I really should have reached out to people. Okay. That's unfortunate.
I'll leave
But
mine at a 5.
mine's going up to a 9.5. I will say that. This album, I didn't even say it as my honorable mention, but it was like right at the bottom of what got cut off of my honorable mentions last week. I love this album.
That's
Nick, what about
bold. I think I'm gonna trust my old self, and I think I'm gonna trust my old self. Keep it at a 6.5, but I'm tempted to knock it down.
Down? Crazy. But okay, so that's a 7.63.
Insane.
And placed temporarily 18th. Episode 19, LSD by Labyrinth, Sia, and Diplo, picked by Jordan. Jordan gave it a 7. Nate gave it a 6.5. I gave it a 7 for an average of 6.83, rank 28th right now. How are we feeling about that?
I'm keeping it.
Okay.
That's a good one.
I will also keep mine. Nick, what about you? Oh God, he's frozen. Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
Oh Lordy-loo.
Oh Lord.
Lordy-loo.
Oh Lord.
Should be good. My internet was lagging a lot, so I just connected to my hotspot. It should be better. You can
How
cut
do you
that
feel
out.
about your? Okay, so then cutting back in because of the internet issues now resolved. How do you
dear
feel about
Lord.
a 6.5?
Extended Stay America. What album are we talking about?
LSD.
6.5's good. That's
Okay,
good.
so so then we're all staying 6.83. Still stays at 28th for now. Next, moving into Living Room by Lawrence. It was picked by David. Jordan gave it a 7.5. Nick gave it a 6.5. I gave it a 7. David gave it an 8.0 for an average of 7.25 and a rank currently of 23rd. For me, that album is going to an 8.5 from a 7.
Bold.
I have really come around to I have come around strong to Lawrence.
Interesting.
Yeah, I love him.
I think I'm gonna keep it the same.
Okay.
I'm gonna rock with it. If I revisited it, I might bump it up a little, but I'm gonna stick with it for now.
And I neglected to ask David what he wanted, so for now it stays at a 7.63. And that puts it at, or for now it moves up to a 7.63, which ties it for 18th, which so far is also the same with An Awesome Wave. So then, episode 21, Witness, Benjamin Booker, picked by Nick. Jordan gave it a 3, Nick gave it a 9.5, I gave it a 5.5, average of 6, and 51st.
I'm sticking with a 3.
I'll move to a 6. I'll move up a half.
What a disparity of ratings.
I remember this was one of the ones where like one of us got kind of heated at the ratings of the other. I remember editing this one and messaging you like, damn, I think you were actually genuinely mad at the end of Haim. You were definitely mad at the end of it. You were legitimately, but I was like, yeah, you sound a little pissed. How do you feel about a 9.5 for that one?
You heard it earlier this episode, you know. Sometimes something just scratches that itch, and
yeah, I recounted to my parents the time Tuffy's gave you the BLT without the tomato or bacon.
oh my god,
That was one of the few times I've seen any of our friend group genuinely pissed off.
I think that
like
that might
legitimately
have ruined
angry.
like multiple days for me. Like that might have set me in like a terrible mood.
That was on like a Tuesday, and you were pissed the rest of the week about it.
That was rough, man. Like Just me ordering like it's already a shitty BLT from like this restaurant just in our student union, and I'm like I'm just in the mood for a BLT. All I want. I forgot about this until you just brought it up.
Yeah,
And
that
then
shit was so
They just give me
Request
like
it.
a lettuce sandwich with mayonnaise. And I can't remember the circumstances why I couldn't open it until like I was away from the restaurant. I don't know. I just remember I didn't check, got somewhere, opened it, saw that it was just lettuce and mayonnaise on toast, and like it ruined my mental state.
That shit was. You were so, especially because you would like just use up the tomatoes you bought from the grocery or whatever, so you couldn't remedy this
Yes,
issue.
yeah. This was when
Yeah,
we
that
lived in
just-
Wolf Village, right?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you were like, okay, I think I have tomato. I'll at least have like 2/3 of my sandwich, and you were like, I don't have fucking tomato.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit was
This
so
is
funny.
this is
You were-
bringing so much back.
You were so.
I can't
you were
enter this
fuming.
headspace. I was. Whew.
But anyways, so yes, so are you sticking with your 9.5 for Witness?
Yeah, I'll stick with it.
All right, the disparity stays, but a little less now. 6.17, still at 51st. 22 Southeastern, Jason Isbell. This one made an appearance on my top 10 list. Jordan gave it a 4. Nick gave it a 9.5. I gave it a 10 for an average of 7.83, seated at 13th, staying at a 10.
I gotta bump it to a 10. I have to.
All right, so this is now our second so far double 10. Jordan, how do you feel about a 4?
I'll leave it. I don't think I really like Jason Isbell that much, but I'll.
Okay.
I'll
Bro, he literally
I'll
sings
leave
about a fungo bat.
Oh,
You were
yo,
the
that's
fungo
right.
bat
Give him a
guy,
10.
yeah.
Give him a 10. I forgot. I gave him.
That would be,
Holy.
that fungo bat reference jumps him 6 whole points. So are you staying at a 4 though?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
I'll say.
Well, then that puts it up to an 8, and it ranks it at 12th. So it bumps it up a little bit for now. Number 23, Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick Lamar. Jordan gave it a 9. Nick gave it an 8.5. I also gave it an 8.5 for an 8.67, and it is currently second overall. How do we feel about that one? I think I am gonna stay at an 8.5.
I think I'm gonna lower it to 8.5 as well.
Okay.
I don't think I have listened to it enough to know the actual deepness of it, and so I just don't listen to it that often because it doesn't resonate with me as well as it should.
I gotcha.
I think I'll stay.
Okay, so then that puts it at 8.5, and it stays at second place, but now Sound and Color is tied for it at second place.
Oh, wow.
I know that because I just saw it change in the corner of my eye and I checked it. So moving on, number 24, Sound and Fury by Sturgill Simpson. Jordan gave it a 5, Nick gave it an 8, I gave it a 6.5 for an average of 6.5, and it's seated at 34th. 33rd. What? 34th. I'm going to give it a 7. I'm going to bump it up a little bit.
Hey, what do you mean by that?
I like it more now than I did then.
It's like that meme. It's like
Right.
what you mean by that? Huh?
What do you mean by that?
And then the rock one. It's like boom. It's like
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
I give it an 8. I'm
Yeah, you gave it an 8.
surprised. I'm bumping it to a 9. 9.25.
Okay.
9.25.
Okay. Jordan, how do you feel about a 5?
I'll leave it. I'll trust myself.
Okay.
A lot of these I probably liked more. Like I probably just didn't hate them, and that's why I gave them these.
Mm-hmm.
So like I trust myself that I enjoyed some of the tracks enough while I was listening to it, but not enough to save. You know,
Mhm.
that's
I
what
gotcha.
that's what some of these are.
Makes sense. Well, that brings it to a 7.08, and it moves it to 25th. So 25, How to Be a Human Being by Glass Animals. Jordan gave it a 6.5. Nick gave it a 6.5. I gave it a 9 for an average of 7.33 and 23rd overall. I'm going to move mine to a 9.5. I think that. I mean, I gave Dreamland a 10. I'm pretty sure, so that's gonna stay a 10. And I think Zabo also probably would be a 10 if I were to do it. But I think How to Be a Human Being, 9.5 feels good.
I'm gonna lower it to a 6. I'm gonna lower it to a 6.
Okay.
I think I like their newer stuff better. Actually, I think I like Dreamland.
This
better.
is their first album, which is weird
What?
to
I thought
think
Zabo
about.
was.
You're right. What am I saying?
Jamie's a fake fan.
No, I'm a real fan. I could sing you every word and weird electronic noise from all their albums. I'm a real fan.
Okay, buddy. Okay, buddy.
Did you know they covered Summertime Sadness?
I need you.
And
No.
I need you to onomatopoeia every weird noise on all their albums.
boo doo boo doo boo doo boo.
No, you have to spell it out.
Boo 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 doo doo.
I
think
I'm,
those are
spelling,
those.
my guy.
I think those are both from JD and
Jimmy forgot
off
what-
of,
forgot what
Jamie forgot what
English letters
spelling
are.
was.
I'm gonna leave it at a 6.5.
Well, then I think that it stays at 7.33. Now I can't remember what I gave it. But yeah, it stays. It's at 7.33, 23rd. Moving on. Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon. Pop Smoke.
Leaving
Jordan,
it at a 9.
All right, Jordan gave it a 9. Nick gave it a 5. I gave it a 4. I think I'll say 4.5. But that's an average of 6.
I'm going
and
5.5.
5.2. Okay, so then that brings it to a 6.33 and moves it. Well, it's at 42nd.
We're back Wednesday.
Yeah, so it moved up. 27.
back, baby.
Half the City, St. Paul and the Broken Bones. David picked it. Jordan gave it a 3.5. Nick gave it a 9. I gave it a 9.5. David gave it a 9. Average of 7.75. 16th
these were-
overall.
I think it's where David intently stared at me when I gave it a 3.5.
Probably
Leaving it there.
considering everyone else is above 9.
I just don't have taste, all right? You know this.
You know what? I'm gonna bump it a little bit. 9.8.
Ooh.
I'm even gonna go. Yeah.
9.8, wow.
I'm gonna bump mine
What's
to a
the one thing
9.5.
holding you back?
9.5. Damn. If
I
only
love
we
this
had
album.
David here, and if he bumped his, we'd be going dummy on this shit.
An extra dumb sauce with extra sticky sins.
And then Jordan's staying at his 3.5. So that moves it to a 7.95, and puts it at 14th. Let's see. So number 28, AM, Arctic Monkeys. Oh yeah, this is our first guest, like multiple spot. AM, Arctic Monkeys, picked by my lovely fiance Victoria.
Victoria.
Jordan gave it a 4. Nick gave it a 7.0. I gave it a 7.5, and Vic gave it a 9 for an average of 6.88, and it's currently seated at 28th. I think I gotta knock it. I'm gonna move it to a 7.25. I think I'm gonna move it a little bit down.
Someone's sleeping on the couch tonight.
She's not here. She's not here. I won't tell her.
Oh, bad.
Don't worry,
Guys,
I'm
don't
texting
tell
her.
her.
I'm texting
No,
her.
no,
I'm FaceTiming her right now, my guy.
no! I can't even.
Got
do
your
that.
wife's
I'm
number
still
in
on
my
Pixel.
favorites, my guy.
I'm still on Pixel 4. I'm not back yet to iPhone.
Can't
yet.
even
But
FaceTime,
soon.
bro. Look at this.
Soon.
That's why she's Jordan's.
Hey.
Soon we can all
Okay.
FaceTime together. I'm gonna go back to iPhone.
Group
So how do you
FaceTime.
guys feel about your 4 and 7?
That's good.
I'm good.
All right, so then that brings it to a 6.81 and puts it at 30th for now. Number 29 is The Strokes, Adam's choice. Jordan gave it a 4.5. Nick gave it a 7.5. I gave it a 5. Adam gave it an 8 for an average of 6.25 and 50th. I think it's a 4.75 for me. It's now sub 5. I think
Wow. I'm bumping it to
just
an
a
8.
little sub 5. Okay, well then yours counteracts mine. So, Jordan, how do you feel?
Nah.
Don't do it. I'm winning, Jordan. My subjective number score is winning.
Wait, what?
He knocked it down by 0.25. I knocked it up by 0.5.
I'm knocking it down a whole half point.
God.
Whole half point.
I'm just kidding. I was probably gonna do that anyways. I think it's too close to some of the other ones I liked
Gotcha.
that were like
Gotcha.
5s and 6s.
Well, that puts it to a 6.19. Brings it down. Wait, doesn't it say the same at 50? I don't remember. But it's at 51st now. Number 30 remains by Bones, Jesse's second pick on the show. Jordan gave it a 5. Nick gave it a 5. I gave it a 6. Jesse gave it an 8 for an average of 6, and it's seated at 53rd.
Nice.
I think I'm gonna move it to a 5.5. I think.
Yeah, I'm rocking with a 5.
Okay, Jordan, how about you?
Yeah, me too.
All right, well then that puts it at 588,
Sorry,
and it
Casey.
brings it down to 54th. Yeah, I don't know. I just, yeah. 38. Wait, no, what? 31. I read 31 and said 38. So 31st episode, Steady Glow, in her own words, Samuel's first appearance. And first appearance. And Jordan gave it a 5.5. Nick gave it a 5.5. I gave it a 7.5. Samuel gave it an 8.5. And it's an average of 6.75 at 31st. I'm good with 7.5, honestly.
I'm good.
Jordan, what about you?
I think I'm also good, just because I don't remember much about it. But
All right, so then that one stays at a 6.75 and temporarily at 31st. Episode 32. I Think You Think Too Much of Me by Eden. Zach's pick. Jordan gave it a 5. Nick gave it a 6. I gave it a 6. Zach gave it an 8 for an average of 6.25 and 50th. How do y'all feel about that?
I don't know why, but I kind of want to bump it up 0.5. I feel like I remember it being good.
Okay. I think I'm gonna move it. I'll stay at a 6.
Ooh, tiptoeing on the edge of discovery, are we?
Well, to the edge of down, but I'll leave it at 6.
I'll leave mine too. I love Zach too much as a human being.
How to be one.
Thank you for this inspirational guide.
Thank you, Glass Animals.
Dark
So then
Side of the Moon by Lil Wayne featuring Nicki Minaj. I'd like to give this song a 10.
I don't. So Eden is an average of 6.38, temporarily at 42nd. Next album, episode 33, Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. Ethan's pick. Jordan gave it a 6. Nick gave it an 8. I gave it a 10. Ethan gave it a 9.7. For an average of 8.43, and it's currently 6th overall. How are we feeling? I think I'm gonna stay at a 10.
I gotta bump it up. I gotta go to a 9. I think.
Oh, a whole point jump. Well, that puts it at 8.68 and moves it to
Yikes.
second place. It edges out Sounding Color and
Yikes.
Man on the Moon now.
Yikes.
Interesting. So then we'll move into the next episode 34, Dreamland by Glass Animals, picked by Victoria. Jordan gave it a 7. Nick gave it a 6.5. I gave it a 10. She gave it an 8.5 for an average of 8 and rank 12 overall. I'm staying at a 10 for sure.
I only gave Dreamland.
This one also showed up in the top 10 list last week.
Damn.
Tune in to see where.
I gotta give it a 7. 6.5 is harsh.
7 minimum.
It's a better album than that.
It's an incredible album.
I think I'll stick with mine. 'Cause I was right the first time.
I thought you were gonna say I beg to differ. 6.5.
No.
After he just said, I liked Dreamland more than How to Be a Human Being, right?
No, I know. That's why I was leaving it there.
Boom, choo, boom, choo. Sometimes all I think about is you.
Dude, Heat Waves literally only played on every single restaurant that I went to when I went to the beach this summer.
I listened to it. I listened to it 4 times yesterday.
It's too
Probably.
much,
And I mean, I loved it.
That whole
man.
album
Much
is
out
so
your
good.
brain.
My brain is just glass animals. So that brings it to an 8.13 and puts it at 10th overall. Next up, the color spectrum, the Deer Hunter saga that Craig chose, which rounded out our first extended guest spot. Jordan, you gave it a 5. Nick gave it a 7. I gave it a 6.5. Craig gave it an 8. I feel like I'm going to give it a 6.9. It's not quite a 7, but I definitely like it more than I did at the time. And I don't even know that I've really listened to it, but like we said, like the scales just kind of changed, and I like that kind of thing a little bit more from what I remember of it. Because now we're getting into where it was only like 20 or 30 weeks ago, so I'm kind of remembering clearer.
Yeah.
But yeah,
A
so
little fun interrupted by a...
by a period.
Yeah.
We've established this.
Yeah.
So how do you guys feel about your ratings?
I'm good.
I think I'm good.
All right.
I do like how deep it is, but as far as just music goes,
I gotcha. Well, then that makes it a 6.73, and it brings it to 32nd. We can now move into 36. Stories Don't End by Dawes, picked by Nick. Jordan gave it a 4. Nick gave it a 9. I gave it a 6, and for an average of 6.33, and it's currently sitting at 43rd. How do we feel about that?
I'm rocking with it.
I'll keep it.
I think I'm also going to keep it there. I think I'm going to keep it. So 6.33, still 43rd. 21 by Adele.
Why is her category singer-songwriter?
Because what else do you classify her as?
I thought they were classifying the albums, not her, right?
Well, yeah, but like that's the album genre. Like that'd be like,
Is that an actual album genre? Singer
Yeah,
songwriter?
yeah,
that's
singer
a genre.
songwriter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's so the genres are
more
basically
on-
just what I could choose the closest to.
Yeah, she's more on
Okay.
the pop side of singer-songwriter, like because she's so huge. But like,
Right.
singer
But typically the
songwriter's kinda
singer-songwriter-
close to- it can be close to like folk music too.
Yeah, folk pop, but typically the focus is more on one person rather than
All right.
it being just like if it was a band, it would be pop or R&B or something. But since it's just like Adele, typically you would say singer songwriters like a catch-all, like Ed Sheeran and shit like that.
Yeah.
Genreless and one person, not a band. I think I'm gonna give it a 9.75. I'm gonna bump it a little bit.
I think I'm good.
I'm sticking.
Well, then that puts it a little bit higher at 8.25 and currently puts it at 7th. Next, One and Only by Chef G, episode 38. Jordan gave it a 5, Nick gave it a 4, I gave it a 3 for an average of 4, and it's currently 61 out of 61 albums that we've rated. I'm sticking with
I
a
think-
3, I think.
I
gotta
think
stick
the
with it.
one song I liked off this is amazing, and I love it. But I think I should have done an earlier album of his because this album, I don't know, it just didn't hit as much as like a lot of the songs I listen to. He's either featured or he has like another guy on him, or it's his earlier stuff. And this was just like the perfect mix of everything I like didn't like as much for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, but I know that now listening to a lot more of his discography, you know.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I will keep it the same.
Okay.
I think I'm dropping it to a 3. I'm burying it
Nah, that's-
deeper as the
Nah, that's probably
It will be
that's
so
probably good.
hard for an album.
That's
to
probably good, dude. I almost dropped it, but
I think
honestly
I'll
just
stay at a 3. I don't think I've yet to, I don't think anyone has given anything a sub 3 yet. So we'll stay at 3.
Impressive.
We'll save that one. We'll stay
I'll
at
give
that for
someone
an,
a sub 3, bro.
we'll stay at that for an album that we really have to
challenge?
punish.
Where is Sturgill Simpson at?
We've
already
missed
passed him,
We haven't,
so
we
he's
haven't
safe.
done
I know,
any more
I know.
yet.
I know.
This year,
I
he's
low-key
safe.
thought about it, but I was like, nah, I can't.
Okay, well, then that brings it to a 3.67, still solidly in last place at
Yeah.
61st. Next, episode 39, Bandana, Freddie Gibbs, and Madlib. Nick chose it. Jordan gave it a 7.5. Nick gave it an 8.75. I gave it an 8 for an average of 8.08. Seated at 11th. I think I'll stay at 8.0. I think an 8.0.
I'm going-
I'll stay there.
already know what I'm doing.
I'm-
So if you want me to,
Jordan, go ahead for it then.
Yeah.
Go ahead for it. What? Go ahead.
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna drop it. I'm gonna drop it to a 6.5, just because I added a lot of songs. And I haven't been able to go back and listen to them because I think I've heard some of it. I like his rapping. I do. But I just haven't been able. I skip him every single time he comes on. I thought I'd be able to listen to it, but
Nick's
I
down
couldn't.
horrendous right now.
So
literally.
you're dropping the score a whole point because you actually did save the songs. You're just not listening to them.
no. I'm starting to listen to them and then I just can't, so I skip them.
Oh, okay. That's a little different.
Like every time I'm like, okay, let me try to get into this, and then I can't, so I just skip it.
Okay.
And that's it's not like I'm like, oh, this is Freddie Gibbs. Whoops, let me skip this.
I understand. I thought you were saying.
But I still feel like he's a really good artist, though. I
Mhm.
still feel like he's a really. Good
I'm
artist.
bumping it up. I'm going 9.3. I was struggling between 2.5 and 5, but I'll go 9.3.
9.3. Okay.
It's not like it
Nice,
really
nice,
matters, but
So then that brings it to a 7.93 and temporarily at 14th. Episode 40, Sam's Town, The Killers. Jordan gave it a 3, Nick gave it a 7, I gave it a 9 for an average of 6.33.
I'll keep it.
That is harsh for that album. I'm going to keep it too, but mine's 3 times higher. Okay, so then it stays at 6.33 and is currently at 43rd.
No, you give it a 3.
Episode 40, that's crazy. Episode 41, Circles by Mac Miller. Jordan gave it a 7. They gave it an 8.5. I gave it a 10 for an average of 8.5. It's currently a third. I'm staying at a 10. I think I listened to it like a couple weeks ago. 10.
I'm
for sure.
bumping it to
Dang.
9.5 for sure.
Dang, dude, I haven't listened to it since.
So good.
It's again, I feel like there's specific moods where I listen to like slower songs or like kind of chill music, and I just haven't been on like one of those kicks lately, so I haven't listened to it since. So I'll still go with 7.
All right, well, that puts it at 8.83. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a new number 1 album.
Hey,
For now, is Circles by Mac Miller is now the top of the list.
Macklin Miller, baby.
Miller.
I'm gonna actually do like data, and I plan to do it, at least post it on like Instagram and tweeting shit like our top 5 went from this to this and who had the biggest change and shit like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then moving into episode 42, an episode we talked about earlier in contention, Women in Music Part 3 by Haim. Jordan gave it a 6.5, Nick gave it an 8.5, I gave it a 4.5 for an average of 6.5 and episode 35. I just want to say, first off, I will take my 4.5. I'll move it to a 6.25.
I was gonna say,
What?
got to be at least a 6.
I'm about to say that's
6.25,
I thought you were gonna say like 5 or something.
No, I have liked it a lot more. Like I said, at the time I was like, from what I remember, I was like, I should like this album way more, but it's just not hitting. And I still don't listen to it like a ton, not like hypotheticals or obviously or anything like that. But I've come around to it more. So 6.25, you know.
I'm keeping it purely based on still how much I like Los Angeles. Los Angeles.
Nick, how about your 8.5?
I'll do 8.75. I know that's not much, but I'll bump it up just a little.
All right, well, then that
that
moves
up.
it to a 7.17 at 24th for now. So episode 43, 22 A Million, Bon Iver. Jordan gave it a 5. Nick gave it a 5. I gave it a 9.5 for an average of 6.5, and it's currently at 36th. I'm going to say 9.75.
I'm gonna bump it to a 6. 5 was a little harsh.
I'm gonna keep it.
That's one of the ones where it's not even like a disparity between 2 people versus 1. I'm totally like championing that out. It almost made my top 10 list last
Wow.
week, like for sure. But that puts it to a 6.92, and it moves it to spot 28. Episode 44, Find the Beat, Blueface's second appearance on the podcast. Jordan gave it an 8. Nick gave it a 4.5. I gave it a 5. Average 5.83, and it's at 56. I think I got a. I'm gonna go to a 4.5 for it. I think
I'm gonna keep it.
I'm gonna go a 6.5.
Oh,
didn't it show up
Sorry,
in your
Blue
top
Jays.
10? No, it didn't. Dirtbag did.
I really don't listen to like any songs off there right now. Pretty
Yeah.
much.
So
Except
then that
Holy
brings
Moly.
it to 5.17, and it puts it
I
at
still think it's good.
60th.
It's still good. I feel like it's still 6.5.
60th. I gotcha.
Actually,
Uh,
6.75. Put it at 6.75. Sorry.
You barely missed it.
Sorry.
Missed it. So then that puts it at 5.25, still at 60th. Episode 45, True Sadness, the Avett Brothers. Jordan gave it a 5. Nick gave it an 8. I gave it a 6.5. And it is currently at an average of 6.5, seated at 37th. I think I'll say 6.8. I'm gonna put it up a little bit higher.
yeah, 8's pretty good.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. Well, then that brings it to 6.6. Still at 37th. Episode 47, obviously, by Late Street Dive. Jordan gave it a 4.5. Nick gave it a 7. I gave it an 8. I think... average 6.5, and it's at 38th. I think I'm going to say I can comfortably give it like an 8.5, I think. I think a half point increase is good for me.
I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I must have been depressed or something, man. To give that a 7.
I know. I mean, hypotheticals alone.
Yeah,
You know.
I love that song.
I've been
And,
playing out a lot of hypotheticals in
Same
my
Old News.
mind.
I love that song.
Yep, Same Old News, great one.
I think I'm gonna keep it the same.
All right. Well, that puts it at 6.83, and it brings it to 30th. Number 47, College Dropout, Kanye West. Jordan gave it an 8.5, and then me and Nick both gave it an 8 for an average of 8.17 and 9th overall. I think honestly, I'm gonna stay at 8. I think I'm good with that.
I gotta give it a 8.5. I have to.
Okay.
Man said mayonnaise bins. I push Miracle Whips.
Yeah,
That whole last song is great.
Love it.
it is. I'll keep it at 8.5 also.
All right, well, but that does bring it to an 8.33, which brings it to 7th overall, so a little bit higher for now. Number 48, RTJ4 by Run the Jewels, picked by David. This is our second kind of guest spot.
RTJ.
RTJ. Jordan gave it a 6, Nick gave it a 9, and then David and I both gave it a 10 for an average of 8.75 and second overall. I'm staying at my 10.
I'm still good with that.
I'm pretty good.
Okay, Nick, how do you feel? All right, so then it stays at 8.75 and second.
Of how a lot of these were like more like we're not really changing them that much because we already we started getting to know like how to rate them and stuff.
Exactly. Now it's kind of going to be at the point where it's a little bit, So
Like we did the one last week. Do we want to change it at all? It's like
yeah. So episode 49, Try Hard, Ban Camino, Samuel's appearance, and Jordan gave it a 4, Nick gave it a 5, I gave it a 6.5. Samuel gave it an 8 for a 5.88 and rank 54 overall.
nice.
I think I'll give it a 6.75. I'll give it a little bit. I've listened to a few of the songs a little bit more, so I'll give it a little bit higher.
Well, the
I think I'll leave
genre
it.
for that is hard rock in the play in the show.
That was a hard one. That was a hard one to
It's
classify.
more like pop rock, man.
I know. I don't know.
What it?
The genres need adjustment, you know.
Who's letting this man type?
We're letting Jamie do the data analytics. He's the only one who cares enough. He's the mastermind.
I'm producer.
You
I need
are.
to get a producer hack. I just want to be
Honestly,
producer.
for how much
I just want to be
how much you
producer
edit.
Eric so bad, you know.
for how much you edit, Jamie, you can mess up whatever the hell you want.
So how do y'all feel about your 4s and your 5s?
I'm good with it.
yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay. So then that brings it to 5.94, seated at 54th. Episode 50, Booty Shakers Ball, Vista Kicks. Adam picked it. 5.5, Jordan's number. Nick chose a 6.8, and I gave it an 8.3. Adam gave it a 7.3 for 6.98 6.8, and that puts it at 27th. Is that the first time that one of us has outchosen an album, like outranked
From the
an
guest?
album that the guest picked?
I don't know, maybe.
Oh wait,
Maybe,
no.
actually.
I mean, well, I guess my tens for Pink Floyd and Dreamland.
I was gonna say you and
outranked,
David have
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
pretty similar music tastes. So
We went a little
I won't
goofy
say that's the
there.
craziest thing in
We
the world,
stayed
but-
off the even decimals.
I think that was
Except
where
me.
we started to get a little weirder. Yeah.
I'm
But
good at that one.
Easy.
Okay. I'm gonna put mine up to an 8.5 actually.
I'm good.
Okay, so then that puts it at 7.03 and currently sitting at 27th. Next is Young Sick Camellia, St. Paul and the Broken Bones, our first and only episode where it wasn't the three of us plus a guest. It was me, Nick, Jordan,
Wait.
Me, Nick, Adam, and David. David gave it a 6.5. Nick gave it a 7.3. I gave it a 7.7. And Adam gave it a 5.8 for an average of 6.83. And number 32, I'm going to say 8.25. I don't know why I gave it sub 8. That album is great.
Interesting.
I'll bump it up to 7.75.
All right.
Interesting.
That brings it to 7.08, and it's at 27th. 52, Neo Wax Bloom, Igloo Ghost. That's where we tried out the music video idea kind of thing. That's an interesting one. That's the most different from our normal format. But Ethan chose it, and Jordan gave it a 5. Nick gave it a 6.75. I gave it a 6.6. Ethan gave it an 8.5 for an average of 6.71, and currently seated at 36th. I'm gonna stick with 6.6. I think.
I'm gonna rock with it.
I'm alright with it.
I'm gonna rock with it.
All right. So it is still 6.71 and sits at 36th. We next have Zach's second appearance, very different from Eden. Episode 53, Emperor of Sand by Mastodon. Our first and only metal album. But Jordan gave it a 4.75, Nick a 7.35, I gave it a 6, and Zach gave it a 7.0 for an average of 6.275 and 49th overall. How do we feel about the ratings?
Such a
I think I'm gonna drop mine to 4 or 5.
7.35 is such a strange rating. I don't know why. I did
It is. I saw that. I
It
saw
really
that. I was like,
is.
what?
I'm gonna give it a 7.5 just to round it off.
All right.
Yeah.
I think I'll stick with my 6. But that puts it at a 6.25, and it puts it at 50th. The New Abnormal, episode 54 by The Strokes, with famed Nicole Raffi. Now of appearing in a Mr. Beast
I was gonna say
video
catch her in the
as well.
catch her in the Mr.
Nice.
Beast video.
But the second appearance by The Strokes, Jordan gave it a 5, Nick gave it a 9, I gave it a 7, and Nicole gave it a 9 for an average of 7.5 and 22nd overall.
I'm satisfied with that.
Yeah, I'll leave it.
She's not really here to possibly bump hers up, but I think I'm gonna bump mine a little higher. I'm gonna go
Okay.
9.5. I really love that album.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I almost made mine lower, so it would have counteracted, but I won't. I'll stay at a 7.
Thank you.
For an average of 7.63 and 18th overall. Next, we have Bummer by Cleopatra, picked by Hunter, and this rounds out this guest spot. Jordan gave it a 4, Nick gave it a 4.6, I gave it a 6, Hunter gave it an 8.5. Average 5.78 for 57th out of 61st, or out of 61 ratings we've done. I think I'll go 6.5. I'll go a little bit higher. I've been listening to it a little bit more. Some of the songs come on my daily mixes, and I'm like, you know what? It's pretty good.
I'm gonna keep it.
Okay.
It's good.
Yeah, I think I'm
What
gonna
about
keep
you?
it also. I'm gonna keep it.
All right. Well, that puts it at 6.283, and it brings it to 48th. Moving on, Planet Her, the deluxe edition by Doja Cat, picked by me. No. Next is Of the Blue Color. of the
I was
Sky
so
by
confused.
OK
I
Go.
was like, did I just did I miss that or did Jamie miss that? I was about to say something.
Yeah, so Cleopatra is actually a 5.9, and it's seated at 55th. Next is Of the Blue Color of the Sky by OK Go, picked by Nick. Back to just the three of us. Jordan gave it a 4.5. I gave it an 8.75. No, Nick gave it an 8.75, and I gave it a 5.6. Why am I so fucked up right now? What the hell?
We're coming up on the end of this
it's seated at-
marathon. We're getting so
it's
close.
seated at 6.283, and it's sitting at 48th. I think I'm going to say 5.5. I'm going to put it just a little lower.
Bruh.
I'm gonna go down to a 4 as well.
Bruh. I was gonna say,
Oh,
you
no.
said like 48.
More discourse.
That's,
More
that's already
discourse.
so low. I don't want to bump it up anymore, but I'll accept it.
It's one of those ones where, like, listening to the album, I enjoy it. But it's kind of like what Jordan said with the earlier songs where he saved it by Freddie Gibbs. And then it just comes on and I'm like, now's not the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so far it hasn't
It's
been
never
the
the
time.
time.
Except for Skyscrapers. I still really like Skyscrapers.
I really am that guy that girl tweeted about that said, I just laughed when this guy told me his favorite band is OK Go, and he was completely serious.
Okay, but
I'm actually not that
I
guy.
fell in love with their newer stuff too, though, which is maybe why I don't like this as much.
Yeah.
I like fell in love
Fell
with,
in
like
love
the
or
album
fell
with like
in
the
lust?
green on it. Oh, like their like green album, you know?
Yeah, I think it's called Hungry for Ghosts or something.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is. I fell in love with that album.
It's got like Island in the Sun on it.
Bruh.
Yeah. Wait, what?
That's off the Weezer Green album.
It's got a hash
I was
pipe
like,
on
Got
it.
him. Got him.
I was gonna say like that's
That
the one
joke.
with, like,
That joke was a 10% of a 10%.
out,
That's who that joke was for.
I got it. It was for you.
The 10 even remember the
10%
song
that know
names.
the Weezer Green album, and a 10% that know that song is on that album. But that brings Of the Blue Color of the Sky to a 6.083 and puts it at 52nd. So next is episode 57, Planet Her Deluxe Edition by Doja Cat, picked by me. Jordan gave it a 4.5, Nick a 5.5, me an 8.8, average 6.27 for an overall of 48. I'm gonna put that at a 9. Honestly, I'm gonna even go a little bit higher. Yeah.
5.5.
You need to bump it up, Nick?
No.
I was about to say I think I'm gonna drop mine. Half
Why do you
point
sound
again.
so defeated by Doja Cat?
I'm sad from the last pick. I thought about taking this one down, but I like 5.5 is fine.
Bro, take it down, dude. You know, how many songs did you add off of this, huh?
Maybe the one with JID.
Laying in my
Maybe.
bed like a vegetable.
Maybe.
Not even like Kiss Me More.
Oh, Kiss Me More is good.
Put it down to a
I
4.
forgot about
Put it
that.
down to a 4.
Oh my god.
You know what? Put it down to a 1, my guy. Put it down to a 1. I'm just kidding. A 4.
I will,
A 4 is okay.
Okay, you gassed me up. I'm
Actually,
gonna drop it to
dead
a 5.
ass. Actually, no. Dead ass. Put it at a 3.5.
What?
That's too low.
I cannot remember one song. No, I cannot remember one song.
I thought you were telling me to. I got you.
Oh, okay. No. I'm saying I want to put it at a 3. Kiss Me
Disgusting.
More is amazing.
Disgusting.
Kiss Me More is the only redeeming quality, and the future song
What?
a little bit. The
What?
future song a little bit.
Future song?
Yes, and it's like the worst on the album.
Wait. No, not future. Who is
There's a
it?
Weekend song that's decent.
The
No,
Weeknd
Jamie,
song
what's
is
the
a
one-
fucking banger.
Young Thug.
Yeah,
Oh, that
Sorry.
one
Thug.
was decent. Yeah, I like that one.
So we'll give it a 3.5.
You bastards.
I'm-
You know what?
Just
Drop it down to a
sexist.
3. No, I'm kidding. I like Doja Cat's singles
You
more. I
right?
don't really like
Been
her
like
music.
this?
This podcast is
Imagine
crazy
alone.
because-
Kiss Me More. Ain't Shit Alone carries
Jamie.
this album.
I could say the same thing about Pop Smoke songs, and guess what? We're not gonna get anywhere. Okay.
Why am I getting so triggered over just the Doja Cat album?
Who would have known this episode would tear us apart?
So next is Still Sleep, Sleepy Hollow. Jordan gave it a 7. Nate gave it a 4. I gave it a 5.5 for an average of 5.5. 59th. I'm gonna say 5.0. I'm gonna bump it down a little bit.
I'm gonna bump mine down to a 6.
Okay.
0.25.
Bro, if it was
Okay.
if the music sounded like the album cover looked, if he had some hyper pop going on, might have to bump it up, you know. If he was getting some 1000 Gex in here. I know they're 100 Gex.
Isn't it 100 gigs?
Yeah, but their album was called 1000
1,000
Gex.
Gex.
And their next album is called 10,000 Gex.
1 billion Gex.
That is way too many gigs.
I'm gonna never mind. I was gonna say something stupid.
Oh.
I was gonna reference
Sorry,
an old
sorry.
Snapchat that I made. Like any viewer would
So-
understand that.
Yes, the perfect joke. So are you gonna stay, or are you gonna? Nick,
Yeah,
you gonna
Nicholas.
Change
Oh,
your
4 is fine.
4? Okay. Well, that puts it at 5.08, and it brings it down to 60th. Next up, the Nashville Sound, Jason Isbell. Nick picked it. Jordan gave it a 4.5. Nick a 9. Me a 9.25, and an overall rating of 7.58. I think my gut wants to bump it, but I gotta objectively say I'll leave it at 9.25.
You want
I'm
to take it
leaving there
down?
too.
No, I wanted to put it higher,
Oh,
but
okay,
I
okay.
think that's just because of I gotta leave it at 9.25. That was
gotcha.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Surely it's not really that different.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at these last albums, and I'm the same. For After Laughter and The Leak.
So next then our penultimate episode to redo is After Laughter by Paramore. I picked it. Jordan gave it a 6, Nick a 7, me a 7.5, average 6.92 for 29th. I think I'm gonna put it at 7.5. I'm gonna lower it a little bit.
Damn.
Coming off of I was
my
just
man
in
got a
that
fickle
mood that
brain.
week.
And Jamie's
Y'all stay in
mind
the same?
be like seesaw, flip flop.
Exactly.
Sorry,
Y'all
I'm
stay in the
tired.
same then?
Yeah.
All right, so that's an average of
Nick needs to go to
6.83
bed.
with a rank of 30th. And then our last album that we did, 2 weeks ago, The Leak, episode 61 by Lil Wayne. Jordan gave it an 8, Nick a 6.5, me a 4.8, average 6.42,
What'd you
currently
say?
at 41st.
I'm kidding.
So I'm standing at 4.8.
Yeah, I'm rocking
think
with the
for 1
6.5.
Munchies, y'all kick and scream.
I think I'm gonna lower it to 7.5.
Okay, interesting. So doing the top 10 list really puts shit in perspective, So then that puts it at an overall rating of 6.25 with a rank of 47th, and thus concludes our first edition of re-ratings.
And stopping recording.
Well,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
yeah, I mean that went pretty well. That there was more venom than I expected to show up in such an easygoing episode at parts.
No research, all vitriol, I'm
all
spitting.
gut feelings and all
spitting
pure
hate.
gasoline. But we've made it through it. We made it through the gauntlet. Ideally, we would have done this after like episode 50 to make it easy, or at least 52. But no, we decided to make it episode 63.
We decided to not think.
We'll see if at episode 100 we do episode 64 through 100, or if we
wait to
fuck ourselves over and do until episode 126.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. All right, well, then that's the list. I mean, and then
That's that.
I'll have made in
stuff,
the
good
YouTube
stuff.
and maybe on Instagram. Just check it out. I'll post like which album made the biggest jump as far as like movement, both up and down. Like, which one did we have the biggest change on, stuff like that. So yeah, I think that was pretty well satisfactory. I feel good about this. So then, do we just want to round it out with our normal what we've been listening to over the past
I
week?
gotta
And then
announce
we'll,
what album we're talking about next week.
Oh fuck,
Okay.
you're right. I was so used to doing broken shit. That's what I get for not looking at the run of show that I make myself.
Wow.
Yes. So we're transitioning back into our normal. It was just a 2-week break from the normal rotation. So Nick is going to be starting us off with getting back into the typical album analysis. Nick, what are we going to be listening to next week?
We are going to be listening to the new-ish album by Duran Jones and the Indications called Private Space. Very, very groovy, relatively funky album.
It's Duran Jones and what?
And the Indications. Honestly, I
Okay.
feel like I should have tapped David for this episode. I feel like he would like it a lot.
Oh, really?
But it's too late for that.
Guess you'll have to recruit him in private. Interesting. What genre is that?
I'd say St. Paul and
Yeah,
the
what's it
Broken
called?
Bones, Leon Bridges-esque.
Okay.
You said a newish?
Yeah, newish. I think it came out in August.
A newish what again?
Oh, I was saying it's a newish album. The album's called Private Space.
It looks like it came out.
Oh.
Oh, it came out on the July 30th, Vic's birthday.
I have it on a vinyl.
And it's by Duran Jones?
Duran Jones.
Yeah, Duran Jones and the Indications.
Nice.
I signed up for that record label. I signed up for a thing they have called Secretly Society. That's like a record club thing, and they send you a record each month. And then that was the latest record that I got. And then I forgot to cancel my subscription, so I have it for another 3 months now.
Oh,
But,
you're locked in for a whole 3?
Yeah, I was like,
Damn.
yeah, I got
Yes.
3 albums. I paid for the membership because they had the 3 albums laid out on the calendar, and I was like, I like all 3 of these albums, sure. And then I forgot to cancel the auto renew subscription, so now I'm getting 3 albums that I don't know much about, but
Oof.
they'll be chill. One of them's pretty good. I listened to it.
Nice.
Big Red Machine, Justin Vernon, Aaron Dessner,
Gotcha.
Taylor Swift features.
So now she's featured on his albums like he was featured on Evermore.
Yeah, man,
Exile, banger, sad banger.
true. She has a really funny line on one of the songs on this album. She says something like "Get your shit
Alright.
together so I can love you" or something. And that's like the
That
main,
is indeed funny.
yeah, that's like the main line. Anyways, what I've been listening to.
Well, yeah, as I say, so we can go ahead and just finish up with what we've been listening to.
Yeah. Faye Webster, new album. I Know I'm Funny, haha. Revisited that. Good stuff. Nothing Is Wrong, Dawes, their second album, came out with a 10th anniversary reissue edition, which which has 4 bonus tracks. I'd heard one of them before, but 3 of them were new. One of them is like an early recording of a song that they released later with like some different lyrics. They're all good.
Gotcha.
Revisited Hotel California recently. Still a great album, of course.
Yes.
Legend of Dude and Juanita, also great.
Mm-hmm.
And is it The Legend? I feel like I might have messed it up. But I've also been pretty into Injury Reserve over the past like 2 weeks. Listened to most of their
Nice.
stuff, and I'm a
Interesting.
much bigger fan than I used to be. I really liked a couple songs off their self-titled album, and then I went back
Yeah.
and listened to their older albums, and I heard them in an interview say it, but I felt like it a little beforehand too, that their older albums feel a little more cohesive as like a unit, and not kind of like a collage of different songs like their self-titled does. And I think I like their older albums as a whole more, but I like a ton of their music. I think Hunter said that was his favorite rap group too, or like favorite current rapper.
That sounds right.
And yeah, and they have an album coming out next week.
Okay.
It'll be the week this podcast comes out, but it was sometime last year. The group is 3 guys, or was 3 guys, and sometime last year, one of the guys in the group died, and they didn't really go into what happened, but like they're dedicating the album to him, and like the album was they recorded a lot of it before he passed away anyway, and it's supposed to be like coincidentally a bit heavier subject matter, because they were talking about how a lot of their old music, they were like, imagine releasing that like after he passed away, that would be insane. Like we can't release a song called Gravy and Biscuits with this like mega bouncy like happy vibe, like
right.
but yeah, I'm excited for it. The 2 singles are wild. They're like so hard to describe, but
I feel like I need to check them out for sure.
yeah,
Maybe I'll do that this week.
go for it. I'll send you some recs.
Nice.
But that's it.
Whoops.
Nice. I don't know. I've been my parents were in town, so I haven't been listening to like that much music just on my own. But just a lot of Glass Animals, a lot of Peach Pit, and then just kind of like daily mixes based off of those.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing too crazy this week for me.
I've been listening to Donda.
Did listen to
Donda.
I listened to
Donda.
Certified Lover Boy. Forgot to say that.
I still haven't.
I probably won't, to be honest.
Yeah, I have no desire to do it. Yeah.
Have you guys heard like
honest.
that "I'm Too Sexy" song?
Oh yeah, that's
Way Too
decent.
Sexy.
I don't think I've heard anything.
It's pretty funny. And
Dude, Rico Nasty posted a video to it, and she's got trending on Twitter because of how good she looked in what she was wearing.
Okay.
It's insane, dude.
hell yeah. But
She looks so good.
that song, the song with Rick Ross and Lil Wayne, and this
Oh yeah, I did
the
listen
song
to
with 21 Savage, they were my favorites. And I'm
Yeah.
not even a big 21 Savage guy. I was surprised.
that. Yes, I've just listening to Donda, like half of it. Haven't listened to the other half yet. A lot of Fabio since he was on Donda. Added 2 more songs by him. Self-made. And spin music. Where he goes ice cream, scooping, shitting, pooping, shitting, pooping.
Bro.
And then a lot of one on my weekly discovery that I like. A lot of like kind of scream rap a little bit, honestly. And then Rick and Morty's been stuck in my head, but only the TikTok part. Then a couple here and there's.
Gotcha. Couple
That's
here's
it.
and there's. Nice. All right. Well, I guess then that will conclude this week. We wanted to say thanks again for listening this week, and remember to tune in next week where we're going to be taking a look at Private Space by Duran Jones and the Indications. Listen to it as much as you want. Kind of mentally formulate your own thoughts. You can join the discussion, quote unquote, with us as you listen. But if you wanted, you can also legitimately join in the discussion by throwing a comment our way on either YouTube or Instagram, or you can also tweet them at us. We're on Twitter at ListUpPodcast. We're on Instagram at ListenUpPod. And those accounts, as well as our personal handles, are going to be in the description of wherever you found this episode. Also, in those accounts in the bio, there's the link tree we have that'll take you to like our merch and the playlist that has the songs we chose for our top 10 albums last week. It'll also take you to the YouTube channel if for some reason you want to. Well, I guess, yeah, if you're listening to this, you'd already would have listened to it somewhere. But you can find us on YouTube too through that link tree. But yeah, all that, and also make sure you give one or both of the socials a follow so that you can see any updates or announcements we make, because that's where we announce things. So make sure to check it, and check out the playlist we made last week. It's pretty cool. It's very eclectic if you're into that kind of thing.
Yes, sir.
And then finally, if you enjoyed this episode and you feel like we've earned it, if you wanted to throw a rating or review our way, it would be much appreciated. If not, at least you listened to the episode this far, so that's great. But other than that, for now, we'll catch you next week, and remember to listen up.